Shivaya Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Shivaya Namaha.
These are the images, the statues of the 63 Nayanar saints who lived in Tamil Nadu between the 2nd century AD and 18th century. In the 13th century, their stories were recorded by Chirkkalar Peruman in an epic that is called Tirutondar Periya Puranam. In a Shivalayam, they occupy a place of honor, usually right next to the shrine of Sri Nadaraja. The peculiarity in this temple is that we do not have just 63 saints, but we also have the statues of 15 others that followed after the 13th century. They are called Tohai Adiyargal. The 15 of them plus the 63 make the total 78, which is a unique feature. And I dare say this is the only temple in the world that houses all 78. You're standing in the Yajnashala of the temple. The Homakundam in the middle was the one that was used for Pratishthabhana in 1998, and it's constructed according to, again, the Shakta Tantras. It's 28 inches by 28 inches by 28 inches, corresponding to the syllables of one of Devi's secret mantras. The Homakundam is described as Chitakni Kundam in the Lalita Sahasranamam. And at a depth of about 3 feet, there are 3 copper tubes running all the way to the sanctum where the Moola Murti is situated. And there are 3 copper silver wires running inside these tubes, so that every homam performed here is felt in the Moolasthana.
Shrimatre Namaha. Namaskaram everyone, and welcome back to our Sacred Rites and Rituals of Sanātana Dharma Learning Series, which is a joint presentation by the Sri Vidya Temple of Rochester, New York, USA, and Ashtanga Yoga Mandir of Sri Lanka. A few housekeeping reminders. We kindly ask everyone to keep all microphones and cameras turned off throughout the session. Please use the question form to share any questions you might have pertaining to the content that has been discussed thus far. For those viewing our live stream, our question form can also be found on our webpage, which is srividya.org/AYM-lectures. Our temple will be conducting its annual Alankara Festival from Friday, July 2nd to Monday, July 5th. An elaborate Rashi Mandala Puja will be performed on Sunday, July 4th. Please visit our website for more information and subscribe to our mailing list for further updates. At this time, we will hand it over to Aya to begin today's session.
Ganāntvā Ganapatikam Havāmahe Kavim Kavīnāmupamassavastavam Jyeshtarājam Brahmanam Brahmanaspadāna Sannanodavitsidhasadanam Om Sri Mahaganādhipataye Namaha Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. My humble pranams to my esteemed Sri Guru, Srila Sri Amardhanandanada Saraswati of Devipuram, India. I prostrate before him and seek his blessings and pray that he sit on my open heart lotus and speak through me. We started taking a cursory look at Rudraksham. Rudraksham, the eyes of Rudra. Rudrakshas are supposed to be the solidified tears of Rudra's three eyes. And we saw in the last lecture how the three eyes correspond to the three leaves of the Bilva. And going from the right, Surya Mandala, Dakshina Netram, 12 trees emanated from there. Left eye, Chandra Netram, Chandra Mandalam, Vama Netram, 16 trees emanated from there. And central eye, Jnana Netram or Agni Netram, 10 trees emanated from there. Now, the botanical name for Rudraksha is Eleocarpatio grantham. I was pleasantly surprised when I read the book Power of the Rudraksha by Sri Kamal Narayanan Sita. This is the book. When I read this, I was pleasantly surprised that there are 68 different varieties of Rudraksha. They are all Eleocarpatia, but then some of them Eleocarpatia grantis, like that. Different types are there, 68 of them. Originally, in the 1860s, from publications coming out of Chaukamba in Benares and other obscure Sanskrit booklets, they were considered to be present only on the foothills of the Himalayas and in places, especially in a place like Nepal, which houses the Pasupatinath Temple, which is an architectural gem in Kathmandu. Of course, during the passage, over a passage of time to the present, so many changes have taken place. Pasupatinath Temple, if you do not know, contains a Panchamukhalingam. Many people think it is Chaturmukham. That means on the four sides of the cardinal points of the compass, there are faces which represent each of the Vedas. What is not known is that on the top, the top face is a Sri Chakram. And puja happens here in the ancient tradition as it contains, as it carries on with the pandas, the priests are called that. They were also originally supposed to have migrated there from Kerala. And due to passage of time and intermingling with the local population in Nepal and intermarriages, that seems to have disappeared. And up to very recent times, if you went to the Pashupatinath temple for midday, Madhyanniham, midday puja, the prasadam that is given to you is a handful of Rudrakshas. And they won't look at who they are giving it to or how many are coming in their hand. They will take the Rudrakshas and offer it to you. You accept it as Shiva's prasadam and bring it outside. Many people have even received Gaurishankar in this type. I am told that practice is now redundant. The world being what it is, I suppose if you offer the pandas a good amount of money, then they will bring some Rudrakshas and give it to you. But things have changed. Now, in this slide, you see a Rudraksha Garland. These are white Rudrakshas, which should tell you immediately that they have come from the Vamanetram or Brahmana Netram or Chandra Netram of Shiva. Now, as early as 1864, a researcher from the university, one of the universities in America, did extensive research on this sacred seed from India. That's what it was called at that time. They discovered that by just wearing a Rudraksha, some people with mental disturbances quietened and calmed down. And this must have encouraged the researchers to carry on further research, and they discovered that the Rudrakshas are magnetic. It is said that they will, by having it close to a source of magnetic power, the Rudrakshas also become magnetic, like an induction. And it is known, it has been known for some time, that the heart and the circulatory system involved and the rhythmic beating of the heart all are controlled by subtle electromagnetic currents. And if one places the Rudraksha over the heart, then ailments associated with these organs are supposed to become better. That does not mean that the Rudrakshas can be worn 24 hours at a time. They are not toys. If you have a Rudraksham, Japam, going on in your system 24/7 is a must. And if it does not happen that way, the Rudrakshas will slowly become demagnetized. And you know that if you wear the Rudraksham, last time I was telling you, I remember about the six-faced Rudraksham, which is for Subramanya, that if you wear it, that little depression that you can feel at the place where the clavicles join, it gives maximum benefit. If you are not sure that undue pressure will not be induced on the Rudraksham in the night, you may keep it. But otherwise, if you are one who wears a Rudraksham throughout the day, then you must take the Rudraksham out and put it under your pillow.
Then in the morning, after ablution, you can wear it again. Now, at one time, I was surprised to learn from one of our members. At one time, there were 108 faces, up to 108 faces of Rudrakshas. Padma Puranam, Devi Puranam, and Rudraksha Japala Upanishad that we were talking about last time, the textual sources, they don't go beyond 14 faces, 14 or 15 faces. And if you remember, I remember this question from last time, from one of the members. I mentioned Kadi, Hadi, and Sadi Vidyas. For the 15-faced Rudraksham, Kadi Vidya, Sadi Vidya, and Hadi Vidya. This is for Pancha Dasa Akshari. Pancha Dasa Akshari. The Pancha Dasa Akshari mantra, Pancha Dasa Akshari, 15 syllable mantra. The mantra will begin, if it begins with the syllable Ka, then it is called Kadi Vidya. If it begins with the syllable Ha, it is called Hadi Vidya. If it begins with the syllable Sa, it is called Sadi Vidya. The Rishi for Kadi Vidya is supposed to be Ananda Vairava Rishi, Daivi Gayatri Chandaha. Right? Kadi Vidya, the Rishi, Ananda Vairava, is no other than Manvada, Cupid. So it is Sringara Pradhanam. Manvada, the Rishi, Manvada is Mahalakshmi's son. And the mantra is Kadi Vidya. It has Shiva Aksharas and Shakti Aksharas and Mithuna Aksharas. If I go into the detail, it will deteriorate into a lecture on Sri Vidya, but it is important for the sake of the practitioners that in Kadi Vidya, the Mithuna Aksharam, that means with Shiva and Shakti, Hrim. Ha is Shiva, Ra is the fire of their union, Ikshanam is Devi. So, Hara Im, Hrim, Hrim, it became Hrim. This Hrim is called Mithuna Aksharam. And the Mithuna Aksharam occurs 3 times in Kadi Vidya. Ka e ila hrim, hasaka hala hrim, sakala hrim. Hadi Vidya, the Rishi is Lopamudra, the divine concert of Agastya. And the Hadi Vidya will go Hasakala, Hasakahala, Sakala Hrim. Hasakala, Hasakahala, Sakala Hrim. So you see, the Mithuna Aksharam occurs only once in Hadi Vidya. But I have seen variations of this mantra being written as Hasakala Hrim, Hasakahala Hrim, Sakala Hrim. So that the Mithuna Akshara comes 3 times. But what is in practice in our Sampradayam, given as Bhiksha to me by my great Guru, is Kadi Vidya. So we will stick with Kadi Vidya. Then the third one, Sadi Vidya, there is a difference of opinion among the scholars. Some say, a majority of them say that it is Durvasa Rishi, while many of them say also that it is Nandi. So, Saeila Sahakahala Sakalahri. When the mantra comes like that. Now, if you are going to have a Panchadasamukhi Rudraksha and you wear it, if you look at the Rudraksham, now if you look at the picture here, the photograph here, you will at once know that the Rudraksham is flat. It is not, in the sense when I say it's like a boat. If you look at the Rudraksham, it looks like a boat. So there is difficulty in how you will be able to string it. Now, in any Rudraksham, this is a Rudraksha that I possess here. If you can focus on that a little bit, you will see it. This is a Rudraksham that I am holding in my hand. It's the size of an amla. It's the size of a gooseberry. If you look at it, this is the top portion. That means the stalk is here and this is the bottom portion. The top portion, after the seed has been cleaned, the top portion is, it corresponds to Brahma. Just like a Shivalingam, remember? Same thing. The middle portion, which is the broadest portion, is called it's the Vishnu portion. This is Vishnu Bhagam. And the bottom is Shiva. So Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, the three murtis are right here. Now, when you string the Rudraksha, it's always beneficial to choose a metal, because if you introduce a metal, the electromagnetic properties of the Rudraksham are said to increase. There has been somebody by the name of Dr. Asutosh Upadhyaya, who wrote a book on Rudraksha, the magical seed. In that he says, once the metal is introduced in the Rudraksham, the opening from top to bottom, from this end to the other end, should occur naturally. If it does not occur naturally, then of course the jeweler will have to use a needle to create the hole. And two little cups are placed on either side. Now here is the Rudraksham that can you bring this thing close? This is the Rudraksham that you see. See, this is a 21 or 30 faced, a huge number, Rudraksha. If you look at it, it looks like a boat. See? So this is Brahma Bhagam, this is Vishnu Bhagam, and the Shiva Bhagam, Rudra Bhagam is at the bottom. If you see, it is shaped like a boat. And this one is from Kathmandu. And if you observe the coloration of the Rudraksha, if you observe the coloration of these two Rudrakshas, you immediately know one is from this one is from the Brahmana Netram, this one is from the Kshatriya Netram, the kingly ones. So, Rudrakshas are, when you wear the Rudraksham, like I told you, you take it out If you are a person who does puja, you do the puja, place it on the Shivalingam. And there are elaborate rituals mentioned, including before you wear a Rudraksha for the first time, you are supposed to consult the almanac, Panchanga. If it happens to be your nakshatram on that particular day, you are not supposed to do it on that day. So you wait for a nakshatram that is associated with Shiva or with the Devi, or a Sri Vidya Upasaka with the Devi. Purvalguni for the Devi. Arudra nakshatram for Shiva. And then there are Vedic rules about Purvaksham, the growing side of the moon, and the disappearing side of the moon. So the Vedic tradition tells you that if it is the growing side of the moon, it is more auspicious. So you choose. And if that growing side of the moon and Arudra Nakshatram fall on a Wednesday, it's supposed to be the best. Or on a Monday, Somavaram. See, so now we are getting into the nitty-gritty of what it is. You choose such a day, and beforehand you collect materials, akshatas, panjagavyam. I hope people are familiar with what panchagavyam is. These are products from the cow. Gomayam, gochalam, kshiram, milk, dadi, curds, ghee. And these are mixed and kept ready. And you have to have a panchapatram. When you do achamanam, after achamanam, all of these things are mixed. And while you take the Rudraksham and you first wash it in lukewarm water, not hot water. Because the Rudraksham, each face is a seed. If you wash it in hot water, it will die. After that, the Rudraksham is lifeless. So what you will do is you will take the Rudraksham, wash it in lukewarm water, gently dry it. Have a soft towel and just take the water from there, sponge it off. Then wash it in Panchagavyam. After you wash it in Panchagavyam, again wash it in cold water. Then wash it in Panchamukhalingam. Panchamukhalingam. While I was in Sri Lanka, a little boy, when I was growing up, the only Panchamukhalingam that we knew was mixture of fruits and honey and all the good stuff that is there. And I used to go to the temple on Fridays, which was just about 50 yards away from my house, Subramania temple. I would go exactly at 7:30 with my hand out like this, because Panchamukhalingam is given at that time. As a little boy of 5 or 6 years old, why do you go to a temple? You go because you get prasadam. But I realized that even that was a great blessing. So you wash it in Panchamukhalingam. What is Panchamukhalingam? Milk, curds, ghee, honey, and what is it called? Good. When you use that, jaggery, country jaggery, if you use that, after you wash it with Panchagavyam, all the impurities It's like doing the adivasams for a new murti. If you wash it in Panchagavyam, already five different materials have been soaked in those different materials. So all the dosham, the impurities of the people who climbed up, collected the Rudraksham, cured it, dried it, sent it to market, packaged it, all of those doshams are taken out. So it's purified. Now you want to invite divine vibrations to this. So when you are going to put the Rudraksham, when you're soaking it in Panchamukhalingam, you can chant the Panchamukhalingam mantras, beginning with Suttodakam, Apo, Hishta, Mayo, Bhavastana, Urje, Tadadana. If you don't know, go to a local temple and ask the priest to bathe the Rudraksham in Panchamukhalingam with the appropriate mantras and give it back to you. Preferably, it should be a guru. If the guru does it, his blessings will always be there. He's never going to think that you should have difficulties in your life. And he's not a proper guru. If you give it, he should bathe it with the proper mantras for the milk, for the curd, for the ghee, for the honey, and for the jaggery. All of these are there. Once you take it out of that, again wash it in lukewarm water. Thoroughly wash it, rinse it properly, taking care. If there's a hole inside, remember, some of this stuff will be inside there. It should not decay. Wash it. Then you sit facing east. If there's a Shivalingam in your house, place the Rudraksham on the Shivalingam, on the Avadayar, and chant Shiva Panchaksharam 108 times. If you want 1008 times, no problem. Now, when you are consecrating the Rudraksham, if it happens to be a Somavaram, and if it happens to be Soma Pradosham, the purification is magnified so many times. Then after you have chanted this, you perform Pancha Upachara Puja. Pushpam, Dupam, Deepam, Naivedyam, Nirajanam. So the purification of the Rudraksha with Panchagavyam and Panchamukhalingam. Remember, most of these things come from a cow. Now you know why I don't have to give you a whole new lecture on why the cow is considered to be sacred. As a Saivite, as a Sanātana Dharmi, you should know the divinity by just looking at a cow. That reminds me, let me tell you, Mahaperiyava, the pontiff, the late pontiff of Kanchipuram, he was compassionate to the nth degree. A local girls' school principal went to him, fully knowing how orthodox he is, and he asked her, "What can I do for you?" What she said was, "Periyava should come to our school. And if you walk on the corridors of the school, the children who come to this institution will be blessed." Now, he was in a very difficult position. Because as a Naimishtika brahmachari and a sannyasi, he is not supposed to go to a place where the girls are. But he came up with an answer. He said, bring a cow which has had a calf and take the cow in front of me and the calf in front of me. I will walk behind the cow. Later on, when they asked him, he said, the very soil on which the cow is walking is more sacred than the vibhuti that you can get in Kailash. So all these products are from a cow. And once it has been cleaned and purified, you keep it and you do Siva Panchakshara Japam over 108 times. If you are a Sri Vidya Upasaka, include the word Hrim before Panchaksharam. Om Hrim Namah Shivaya. Then it becomes Shakti Panchakshara. Shiva and Shakti together. After this, you can wear the Rudraksha. You should not wear the Rudraksham to a funeral home. If you are going for a cremation, you should not wear it. Unless you are the one who is performing the Kriya, and unless you are one in whose system the mantra japam is going on 24/7. When you come back, you bathe, and you have to go through the same purificatory process for the Rudraksha. So you should not go to a funeral home or a funeral. You should not go to a place, to a house where a child has been born, new child. It has the same effect. And you should not go to a, let us say, a public market with the Rudraksha. That is why I keep emphasizing the fact that after the puja is done, you, to be on the safe side, take the Rudraksham out and put it on the Shivalingam, at the foot of the Shivalingam, and go wherever you're going. Now, if you see the X-ray image of the Rudraksham, they have performed enough experiments with this. One of the foremost institutions that has been conducting extensive, and I mean extensive, experiments with the Rudraksha Mala, with the Rudraksha seeds, is the Mumbai University of India. Bombay University, they have done exquisite research on this. And there is also a book written by a Keralite priest. He's an Nambudri. His name is Shubhakaran. If you can find it, it has been out of print for some time, or these books, when they are of a religious nature, they don't print so many copies, because the general population prefers to buy books on cinema stars than Rudrakshams or Shivalingams. That's the truth. Please go to the next image. The Rudraksham, there. This research was done in Mumbai University. The gaseous composition, as determined by CHN analyzer and by gas chromatography, show the Rudraksha consists of the following: 50% carbon, nitrogen 0.95%, hydrogen 17.89%, oxygen 30.53%. Then, what is more interesting is that there are metals in the Rudraksha. Radiographic analysis of Rudrakshas indicate the following composition of metals reported in 2 readings. Copper, the ppm is parts per million. Okay, 0.34 parts to 4.205 parts per million. Iron, silver, manganese, gold, and barium. It is interesting to note that barium and gold are considered good for heart ailments. So you see, when you wear the Rudraksham and you are reposing like this, it is over your heart. And they have done studies of many, about 21 or 25 subjects, I forget the number now, and they measured their heart rhythms. Everybody had the same Rudraksham, everybody was placed in the same place, and I don't know how they measure the heart rhythm, maybe EKG, and they found out that the rhythm of the heart rhythm became very even after this. So this experiment was conducted in Mumbai University, and you see manganese is there, gold, barium. Remember when we do the Rahu Ketu Shanti Puja in the temple, the 3 M's, one of the 3 M's is manganese. Magnesium, manganese, and molybdenum. So here, please go to the faces, Amma. Let's see. We were very lucky. The Devi Mahapuranam and the Shiva Mahapuranam and these documents that have been mentioned before, some of them don't go beyond 14 faces. And they found out that at one time there were 108 faces of Rudrakshas. 108 face Rudraksham. Can you imagine how big it would have been? And in this lot that we have faces up to 35. Up to 35. I thought we had up to 36. If it was 36, then we know that for each tattva, each of the tattvas that went in to the formation of the universe, one face represents each one of them. And the benefits of wearing it, the scriptures, the textual sources stop after 14 or 15. These days, it is very rare if you can manage to get up to 21 faces. 16 face. Go through the faces like that. So we do not know what is the advantage or what are the benefits of wearing this. Now see, this is a 17 face Mukhi. 17 Mukhi Rudraksha. Each of those lines you have to count. 18 face. Some of them will be also repeats. Now, for instance, an 8 face Rudraksha is supposed to be for Ganesh. It is also supposed to be for Ashtalakshmi, for the 8 Lakshmis. Now, a 21 face Rudraksha is also supposed to be for Ganesh. So, I suppose, depending on your karmic burden, it will come to you. Whatever comes to you, you know. That is the way you have to take it. Okay, 21 face Mukham. Keep going up to the last one. 22 face. The Rudrakshas, some of them will definitely be fakes. Wherever you go, the unscrupulous ones will always try and make capital of somebody's ignorance or somebody's gullibility. If you are a gullible person, they'll take you for a ride. Now, these Rudrakshas are all boat-shaped. So you can imagine, you see the hole in the middle. This has been carefully drilled. how do you bind them into a garland? You cannot imagine wearing something like this. Each of this, can you focus on this one, please? I'm showing this to you so that you have an idea as to how big it is. See, I'll hold it next to my ear. You can see it's almost as big as my ear, and I'm supposed to have big ears. Okay. Look at the Rudraksha. Now, how do you wear a garland that is like this? It can only be worn during puja. Things like this, valuable things like this, you don't wear out in public. Even if you are going to a temple, unless you are a person who is sitting and you are going to do puja, I wouldn't like to wear something like this. For one thing, it will attract unwanted attention. Now, as you keep going, please show them all the faces, all the way up to 35. This is 27. 28. Now, people who have received Mahashodasi, this would be a first-class Rudraksham to have. Just this single Rudraksham, wear it, and you do your Shodasi. Because the Mahashodasi has 28 syllables, and it contains within it the purest form of the Panchadashakshari mantra. So this will be ideal to couple it with that. Now, if you look at the color, please note as the person keeps going through the Rudrakshas, notice the color. See, the previous one was reddish brown. This one is brown. 29. Keep going. 30. The size becomes larger and larger and larger. Yes. 31 face. 32 face. That's it. Okay. Gaurishankar Rudraksha is said to be one that helps the wearer achieve Sarva Siddhi, as it renders all the 4 human pursuits: virtue, wealth, sensual pleasure, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. It is said to fulfill all desires and make the person satisfied and content about life, especially good to be used by people in business who want to earn money in a big way and earn it fast. Imagine wearing a Gaurishankar Rudraksha just to make money. It somehow shows you the way the material part of it has to be introduced to induce people to use it in a proper manner. Now, Gaurishankar Rudraksha looks as a 4-face and 5-face. Rudrakshas are joined together. A word of caution. When you look at a Gaurishankar Rudraksha, when somebody gives it to you or tries to sell it to you, please take it and hold it and look to see whether there is a change in color from the seeds on either side, whether there's a change in color to the place where they are joined together. If there is a slight difference in color, you know that is another cementing material that has been used to join them together. Don't buy it. And there are various methods that they will profess when they try to sell the Rudrakshams to you. They will tell you, if you hold it between your thumb and forefinger with 2 copper coins on either end and hold the Rudraksham so that the Brahma end and the Shiva end, Rudra Baham, are like this. Like this. If you hold it, it will turn. There is no scientific basis for that. They will also tell you, suspend it from, on a string and hold it and they will say that it will rotate one side, then it will rotate the other side. All these are fake. If you are going to get a Rudraksha, the only way to be sure is to know the source of the Rudraksha, where it came from. Like I told you, if the priests at Sri Temple give you a handful of Rudraksha, take it. That source is authentic because they are devotees of Shiva who have been there for generations. They are dead scared. You should not do that. They know that they should not cheat anyone. I don't know how the situation is now. But even with this, the Rudrakshas, there is a place in Kasi. If you go there, it's at Hanuman Ghat. It's close to the Shankara Matam of Benares, Kanchipuram, Kanchi Matam. There is a place, a gentleman by the name of Chandrasekhar. If you ask him, he will point you to the correct place where you can find authentic Rudrakshas. These ones came from there. These Rudrakshas that I am showing you came from there. This is the size of an amla. This is the size of a gooseberry. So this is Uttamam. It will be a little expensive than normal, but you know, if you know that is what you want, then that's what you want. Go to the Dattatreya Rudraksham, please. I used to have a Dattatreya Rudraksham, that is 3 of them joined together. One had 8 faces, the other one had 4 faces, and the third one had 5 faces. You can see the mala being worn by me. I can tell you, inside that little gold kavacham was the Rudraksham. Outside are the 9 gems for the 9 planets. And below, the pendant denotes the Rakta and Shukla Padukas of Guru. Mind you, these are the bottom side of the foot, Padam. What happened? Let me tell you the story of this. There is a lady, a disciple of the late Bhadraksha Swami in Chennai. I met this lady somewhere, and she had invited both of us to lunch, and she was lamenting on the fact that the Guru, her Guru, after having given her all the mantras, he did not give her Dakshinamurti, or did not give her Dattatreya. And one day, out of the blue, she got word that he was willing to give her the mantra and for her to make an immediate trip to wherever he was. I think it is somewhere in Ambattur. So she went. By the time she arrived there, he had already attained Siddhi. And she was heartbroken. Now nobody is going to give her the mantra. When she invited us for lunch, we went there. And as you know, in most of the Indian houses, the kitchen was here, and right next to it, through a doorway, is the shrine room. So she could cook and take the food straight there for the Naivedyam and do that. And on top of the doorway, between the kitchen and the shrine room, on top there was a picture of Dattatreya. So I kept quiet. When she asked me to come and do the Naivedyam, right under the doorway, I gave her the Dattatreya mantra. And she She didn't expect it. So she was completely beside herself with happiness. What she did was, she said, I must give you something very, very valuable for this. I know the very thing. There has been a Dattatreya Rudraksham in our family for over 700 years. I will give that to you. And that is the one that is inside that pendant. Unfortunately, it got thrown away with flowers some time ago after Skandasashti. The whole mala got completely thrown away, and I do not know where it is now. So that's the story. Can we have questions?
The first question, Ayya, is can we share a Rudraksha or Rudraksha mala with someone?
No. Unless that person is your spouse, your partner, then you can. But you can bequeath a Rudraksha mala in the event of you exiting this world and going into Devi's world. You can give it to somebody and go. You should not share a Rudraksha or a Rudraksha mala with somebody else, because the electromagnetic qualities of the seeds will be altered. From person to person, it's different. It's like a thumbprint. It will be different, so you should not. Next one.
Can you recommend any English books on Rudrakshas?
Can you zoom in on this one? Oh, there you are. There you are. K.T. Subhakaran's book is shown. Wonderful. I wonder where they got this from. Rudraksha, the medical seed, from Asutosh Upadhyaya, and Kamal Narayanan Sita, the power of Rudraksha. The first one I found was very useful. There's a lot of new information in that. And I have several Tamil publications on the Rudraksham, but I have not been able to lay my hands on them. They are somewhere in the library. Okay. So these are the books. The first one, Kamal Narayanan's book, is very good on the Rudraksha. Next question.
How do you know if the Rudraksha is broken inside without cracking the exterior of the Rudraksha?
How do you know if the Rudraksha is broken inside? If it is broken inside, the hole will show you that. If you shake it like this and look at it through the hole, you will see that there is something protruding inside. Then you know that it's broken. Because if you soak the thing in water and put it out and cover it with sand, cover it with soil, it is supposed to sprout, which is what happened in the Shiva Subramanian Swami temple in Hawaii. Now it has become a forest. There are 50 or 60 trees there. So that's how you find out. Next one.
Is there a specified way that we should care for or clean a Rudraksha?
Very good question. It is said that you have to, all the texts that I have read, including Shubhakaran and Kamal Narayanan, they tell you that you must soak it in sesame seed oil, gingerly oil. But please remember, if you soak it in sesame seed oil, you must sponge it dry immediately. You must sponge it dry. Otherwise, use mustard oil. I think mustard oil is a better choice because the mustard oil will not become sticky. You must gently clean it. Do not use things like shampoo And so remember, when you're wearing a Rudraksham, at the time of the bath, you must remember to take it out. Otherwise, the soap and the water and the shampoo will get inside and kill it. Once the Rudraksha seed is dead, it is dead. So you wash it in lukewarm water, not hot water, because you will kill it. Then sponge it dry, dab mustard oil on it and keep it. That's the way to clean it. Next one.
Can you tell us about the Rudraksha mala that the Devi was wearing with the green pendant in this picture? What's the name of this mala?
The one that she is wearing, you mean the black seeds that you see?
Yeah, I think they were asking if that was a Rudraksha mala.
That is not the Rudraksha mala, Amma. That the garland that she is wearing is, you know what it is, right? Saligramam. All of them are Sanātana Gopalar. Saligrama mala is what she is wearing. 21 saligramas were bought and made by Swami, the late Swami T. Murugabhushanam, for her. And she's been wearing them for ages now. See, they are not seeds, they are fossils from the Himalayas. Tell us the Rudraksha mala Devi is wearing with the green pendant. The green pendant is not, the green pendant is what we talked about last time in the place called Anda's place. Sri Viliputtur. Sri Viliputtur. There's an artist there who is one of the very few left who make this kind of thing. And it is designed to attract people to the temple. And if you remember, people who were there in the temple before this mala was put, and the number of people who started coming after this mala was born on her. Okay, next question.
Which Rudraksha would you recommend for students?
Which Rudraksha would you recommend for?
Students.
Students. Manage to get, if you can manage to get a 5 mukhi. That 5 mukhi is for Shiva, one for each of the syllables in his mantra, Nama Shivaya. You wear that and you treat it with proper respect, then it will help you in everything. You should not wear it to school, remember. Next question.
I think we'll do this one last question. Is there a seed that is for the Devi, like how we have a Rudraksha for Shiva?
Is there a seed for the Devi, like how we have for Rudraksha for Siva? You think Shiva is any different from the Devi? It's the same. Both of them will have Rudraksha. But I'm glad you asked that question, because there is another kind of seed which is called Bhadraksha. The Bhadraksha is a whitish kind of a seed. The Bhadraksha is for Rama and for Mahavishnu. Rudraksham, Bhadraksha. But it is not that you cannot wear the Bhadraksham for Shiva and the Rudraksham for Narayana. I don't see any difference between the two of them. They are the same. Because in the Rudraksham, the top portion is Brahma, middle is Vishnu, the bottom portion is Shiva. Let me tell you a story before I conclude. It was in the early 60s. My friend and I had gone to Kadargamam to a Subramanya shrine for the New Year. And the tradition in Kadargamam is you go bathe in your clothes in the river. The river is called Manika Gangai. And the main shrine, people were worshipping, all kinds of people come, Muslims, Hindus, Christians, everybody comes there. And they were worshipping, and the devotional element component was palpable. You could tell these people are very devoted. But for some reason, my heart did not melt at all. It was like a stone. And I was complaining to him while praying, I have taken all the trouble to come all the way from there to this place with umpteen difficulties, because people at home were not at all happy that I was visiting temples frequently. And I don't feel anything. So very disappointed, went back. We stayed the night at the Ramakrishna Mission Matam, which is no more anyway. Next day morning, bathed in the Manika Ganga and took 4 gallons of water, because there's a mountain that you have to climb. On top of the mountain, there is a veil. That veil has been installed in that reputedly by Srila Sri Jnanananda Giri Swamigal. This veil has been there for centuries, and Jnanananda Giri is reputed to be over 600 years old. You can't move that veil from there. They tried. For political reasons, they tried to uproot the veil and put it behind a Buddhist temple that they were trying to build. And they tried. They even took an elephant there and tried to pull the thing out. It wouldn't budge. All they succeeded in doing was denting it a little bit. But every year, on New Year's Day, my friend and I would be there. And there's no water on top of the mountain. So we carry 4 gallons of water each. As young men of 20, 21 years old, it was nothing. So we carried the thing and went up. On the way, the last stop, in a flat little place, there was a Tannir Pandal, where they give water to the devotees. And we had gone just after a particular festival, and the remnants of a shed was still there, small shed. And there was a ochre-robed sannyasi leaning against one of the posts and looking. We were looking at the two of us. My friend and I, if we go up, or whenever we go to Kadargamam, until we come back, so that no other thoughts will come, we will be always singing Muruga, 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 like that. We had a Shruti box and a pair of cymbals. He was looking at us while we were climbing up. And he said, my friend said, he's calling you. I told my friend, he's calling you, you go. When I tapped my friend, he said, the old man, he didn't speak. He said, you come. So I went. And all these sannyasis, I don't know how familiar you are with it, but they always have a bag of vibhuti on their waist. And they'll take that out, and they'll take the vibhuti and give it to you. That's a great blessing. So I extended my hand, and he put vibhuti on, he put quite a bit of vibhuti on my hand. And in the vibhuti, there was a small japamala, Rudraksha mala. I told him, Swami, I can't wear this. because I don't have, because the understanding that we had up to that time was that you must have mantra diksha to even wear a Rudraksha mala. So I said, Swami, I can't wear this, I don't have mantra diksha. He said, Podu. So now that he has said Podu, I wore it and applied the vibhuti, put the rest of it in a small container that we had and kept it so that we can take it back home. He said, go. So we climbed the rest of the 50 feet, went and did namaskaram to the veil, went round the veil. There's a rock on which the veil is there, and did namaskaram. I wanted to come right down the last 50 feet where the shed was to ask him, how should I take care of this? When we came, he was not there. So both of us young men, we ran down the hill trying to look for him, but we couldn't find him. And that day evening, after we come back from the mountain also, you dip yourself in the Manika Ganga and you go to the temple evening puja. We went and I was crying like a baby. The energy was so strong. And the priest, they tie their faces because they don't know the mantras. He was doing arti. And both of us, my friend and I, were there. We were worshipping. And I suddenly turned around to see the old man was standing behind me a few feet away with the crowd. So I tapped my friend and said, can you look? By the time he turned around, he was gone. So this was the experience. And I had that Rudraksham with me. It was kept in a sandalwood box that was in my mother's possession because it was from my maternal grandfather. Puja things were kept inside, puja books were kept inside, a small box. Inside that I had kept the Rudraksham. When I went to Africa, I left it there thinking it will be safe. And in 1983, they set fire to the house during the riots and everything was consumed. So the Rudraksha Mala was gone. Thank you very much. We will see you again next week.
Thank you, Ayya, for taking the time to discuss Rudrakshas and how to identify the various types for use. To access all content prior to today's session, please visit srividya.org/AYM-lectures. Thank you everyone for joining us for today's session. At this time, we will hand it over to Vyasa Uncle from Ashtanga Yoga Mandir to begin our yoga session.
Greetings and pranams to Haranaya and also to all the members of the Sri Vidya Temple, members of the Ashtanga Yoga Mandir. It is indeed a great pleasure and privilege to learn and understand all the experiences and also to hear the great memories of Ayyas. So as a continuation of last week, we had the few asanas which is generally done at the time of the wearing of the Rudraksha according to the Hatha Yoga Sampradaya. So you will know that when it comes into Hatha Yoga Sampradaya, that there is two types of sampradaya which is involved. One comes as the Natha Sampradaya, and the other one comes as the Shuddha Sampradaya. These are the two major things. When it comes into the sampradayas, it is like that. And when it comes into the Siddha Sampradayas, you will see that there are various type of Siddha Sampradayas. So for example, as most of you will be knowing, that when we are doing the yoga, in the historical perspective, there is 3 historical reasons how this whole yoga knowledge is derived. So you will see from the Lord Vishnu, from that Sampradayam, we have the Vaitika Yoga. We have from that Vaitika Yoga, from Lord Krishna, we have the Jnana Yogam, Bhakti Yogam and Karma Yoga. These 3 things is derived. And from the Brahma, from the Raja Yoga, we have the Ashtanga Yoga, Samadhi Yoga and Kriya Yoga. And then from the Shiva Sampradaya, we have the Hatha Yoga aspect. So this is how generally the whole knowledge system is derived for the basic understanding. But what is the most important thing is whether it is whatever the thing is there, it always lead into the same attainment of goal. So even if you find in the Ashtanga Yoga, you have the Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. So if you go into the process of the Jnana Yoga, so you have the Shravanam, Mananam, Nidhyasanam, Jnanam, Jiva Mukti and the Siddha Siddhi. So this is how the whole process or the stages goes as. Same thing with the Bhakti also, you have the Bhakti Yoga, also you have the Prema Bhakti and Saguna Satkara and Parashakti, like that you have. So you will see in the Siddha tradition, as mentioned before, you have different types of Siddhas. So as you have the Nada Siddhas, you have the Rasa Siddhas, then you also have the Maheshwara Siddhas, and then you have the Shankara Siddhas, then you have the Yoga Siddhas, and Kaya Siddhas, and the Rasavada Siddhas. Rasa Siddhas are different from the Rasavada Siddhas. So according to that traditions of thing, they have, whenever they are wearing this Rudraksha in the Yoga Sampradaya, basically they do like how last week we did the asanas, they also do a specific pranayama. So we'll just explain to you one of that way, which comes as the Brahmari. So when you're doing this practice, for example, after you wear the Rudraksha, once you are initiated, you do it, you chant it, and then once you go on doing that thing, there is also the, according to this principle, is that like how you can seal it. That is the basic principle. So you have to come to Vajrasana in this practice. So you come into the Vajrasana, and then from there you go into the asana, which is called as the Pada Dhira Asana. As yoga personalities, all of you know, Pada Dhira Asana comes like you take your right palm, you place it under the left armpit. But what is the most important is the thumb is placed, like you need to ensure the thumb touches the collarbone region, and then it comes like this. So here the right hand faces outward. And in the ladies one, they bring the left hand forward. So here the mala is there, Rudraksha is there. And then from here they are in Vajrasana. And then they bring the hands in this position. And then from here, there is 2 more techniques when they do the Brahmari. One is basically when they do the practice, they fold the tongue and they do it. And in that, there are different stages. But basically, you keep it straight as much as possible, where you are able to touch the collarbone. You are in Vajrasana. You take a deep breath. So here, what is the most important thing is that you go into the different stages of the practice. But here, the exactly is that, so when a person is doing this, he would have already done all the other pranayamas. So here, basically, the idea is that you need to do the humming of the Brahmari for 27 times of 27 rounds. This is how the whole process of that, so that whatever the chantings and whatever the things which you have done with the Rudraksha, it starts in getting itself sealed in the facial region, because the senses needs to be balanced. So how do you know? That is number one. Number two is you also need to ensure that when you do the Brahmari, you go in the, you need to increase the speed up and then you decrease it. Arokanam in avarokanam. In that way you need to do. So I'll just say, like, this is how you will do the humming sound. You take a deep breath. This is the basic standard. Like this, it goes on. In the Uttamam, they go to 108 also. But when they do the 108 in that, then there is a specific mantras which is being used, and then there are specific kaya kalpas are also used, just for you to ensure that you don't get tired or exhausted. So like that they do. So when they do 108, they will do 108 times. But basically, this practice can be done. So initially, like we have a lot of people here where you will be doing yoga and not doing yoga also. Initial stages, you please start with 9 counts. That's fine, no problem. Just do 9 of 9 rounds. Okay. So we will all just start that process. Make yourself comfortable. Please come into Vajrasana. In case if you are not able to come into Vajrasana, there is no problem, whatever the position, because Vajrasana is the position that activates. It keeps the alignment in the perfect position. Okay. So you will keep like that, just ensure. When you are doing these practices, if you are wearing any specs, you need to remove the specs because of the pressure of the specs over the nostril region. And then you close your eyes. So for today's, due to the time purpose, we will do 3 rounds. Then please continue your practice. So here you will see in the either in the Natha Yoga Sampradaya or in the Hatha Yoga Sampradaya, you will see the sounds are more used. When we say sounds, bijams are more used. It is all done. So here what happens, a person who does this humming sound, within themselves, they do a bija chanting within the mind. So like that, there are various classifications, which is all done in the whole process. So this is a basic understanding, because Ayya has been beautifully explaining the power, the process, the purifications of the Rudraksha, which has to be applied in our day-to-day life. That is what is important. How all the basic pujas, these are all the powerhouse to embrace our personality. What we do with that is a different aspect. That is not important. But the basic idea is we need to enrich ourselves. We have the different koshas. We just have to ensure that every koshas are able to vibrate in an interconnected and intra-connected manner. For that purpose only. So like this, there are specific yoga practices. This is called as kutu. Like I have explained to you, Veda Kutu, Vedanta Kutu, Nada Kutu, Quil Kutu. Kutu means what? You interconnect. So here what and what you will see, there is a specific asana. So you come in Vajrasana. From Vajrasana, then you come into this position, which is called as the Padadevasana. then there is a humming sound of the specific pranayama, and then there will be one bija sound which is involved in that, and then there is also a drishti which is involved in that. So like that, it just gets, so this, when you collect few things, when you add certain things, it is called as kuttu. Understand? So this is how this whole practice, which can be practiced by all those who are having the Rudrakshas, those who are having the mantras, you all can go ahead with this practice. So with that, I give my pranams and namaskaram to Haranaya, and also to all his wonderful members who are doing tremendous, great job for the humanity, and also to all the members of Ashtanga Yoga Mandir, and all those who are viewing this program. We will complete the sessions with the Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, and God bless you all.